Hi, welcome back to COMM1160. This is week number 2, and this week we're going to be looking at an introduction to research and the library system. Before we get started, though, I have a big announcement. I think I mentioned in my week 1 video that I'd adopted a cat who turned out to be pregnant. Well, this week my cat delivered one baby. There's only one. The little guy or girl that you're seeing on the screen is the baby. So we're very excited. It's been a lot of fun to watch this baby. The baby's a week old now. But I did want to warn you that I am recording in the same room where mom and baby are. So you may hear some little squeaks, okay, or some meowing. The little guy cries a bit when he wants to eat. So you may hear some meowing back and forth as he's calling for food. My microphone is really sensitive, so it may pick this up. So just a warning, just a heads up, okay, before we get started. So this week we're going to be covering the importance of research and there we go. Week 2, we're going to be covering the importance of research and we're going to learn how to navigate through our library systems. There will be an assignment for week number 2, and this assignment needs to be completed by September 24th at midnight. The assignment is available for you under the assignments link on the left-hand side of your Blackboard. I will also give you a short video letting you know how to access the assignment and how to upload the assignment to submit it. So that will be an additional little video in this week's videos. Please remember that what I try to do is create shorter little videos for you in chunks. We're going to be looking at a variety of information this week, so I'm going to kind of chunk things up. There may be a lot of videos in the list, but each of them will deal with their own specific topic. I also wanted to let you know, that because of the size of the font on the various systems that I'm going to be using, it might be easier for you this week to make sure that you're watching on an actual monitor, so either on a laptop or a desktop rather than a phone, just for ease of reading. And you might want to expand the window so that it's your full screen, so that you can see the different little things that I'm going to be showing you. Again, some of them can be a little bit small, so you want to have your screen as large as possible. So let's get going. This is officially starting our real work for COMM1160. We need to talk about research in general before we get started looking at the various ways that you're going to be doing research. And research is an essential element for any healthcare worker, whether you're going to be a nurse, a pharmacy technician, an RMT, or you end up in any other branch of healthcare. Research is an essential element. Solid research is very important in your field. Think about all of the fake news that has been going around right now, and think about all of the harmful material that's out there surrounding medical issues. I know when I go into Facebook or any other type of social media, I'm seeing tons of medical information these days, but I don't actually know where the information is coming from or if it's reliable. If I look on the external web, so, if I go to Google and I look at any kind of healthcare or medical topic, the information that I'm getting is not necessarily reliable. And in fact, some of it can just be downright harmful. So it's time now to say goodbye to Dr. Google. I know that the tendency is to, anytime you need information about anything, to open up Google, type in a keyword, and see what you get. That's fine if you're doing online shopping for jeans, okay? Or if you need a recipe or something like that. It's not great for medical research because, again, we can't rely on the information that we're going to get through the external web very easily. We're going to look at different research sources that are available to you as a healthcare professional that will eliminate that uncertainty. It's also important that we focus on research because you're going to be conducting research as a student. So for the various classes that you're taking, you'll be looking up different concepts and different ideas. But you're also going to be doing research as a professional after you graduate. So when you're working with patients, you may need information about specific conditions. You may need information about specific drugs. You may need information about specific health promotion strategies. All of these things are going to come into play. So research is going to be your best friend, both as a student and then later on after graduation as a working professional. When we talk about research, we tend to refer to research as secondary material. So you'll hear professors throw around that term all the time, secondary research. What do they mean? When professors mention secondary research, they're talking about things like books, ebooks, the external web, but again, being careful, okay, with the information. And then academic journal articles that are from medical sources. So these are the 4 big sources of information, the secondary material that you're going to be accessing to pull information that will help you as a healthcare professional. We're all familiar with books and ebooks, and certainly everybody's familiar with the external web. The one route or source of information that you may not be familiar with are academic journal articles. Excuse me. Academic journal articles are like magazine articles in very specialized journals, which are like magazines, okay, for people in healthcare, that deal with all sorts of different medical issues. There are literally thousands upon thousands of academic journals that range from general coverage to highly specific topics. Okay. And again, like I mentioned, try to think of them like magazines for healthcare professionals. So they come out every so often. So some of them come out every month, some of them come out every 3 months, some only come out twice a year. It depends on which one you're looking at. But they publish, okay, these journals, these issues, in order to give people information. And like I said, some of them are very general. Okay, so some of them just deal with health in a very general or broad sense, but some of them are very, very specific. So you might, for example, have an academic journal article, or sorry, an academic journal that only focuses, say, on chemotherapy, or you might have an academic journal that focuses only on kidney disease. Okay, so they range, they're all over the place. Again, think of magazines. There are magazines out there that are very, very general, right, that cover all sorts of different topics. And then there's magazines that are out there that are very specific. Okay, so if you think, I'm trying to think of a general magazine, Canadian Living, for example, might be an example of a general magazine. There's all sorts of different types of articles about different issues in there. But then Men's Health magazine is a very specific magazine dealing with health and fitness just for men. Okay, so general to specific. We're going to see the same thing in the academic journal articles. Academic journals are special, though, because they go through a process called peer review. And this is very, very important, and what sets academic journals apart from just your standard magazine or your standard publication. Peer review is a process where, before the journal publishes an article, they have that piece reviewed by a panel or a board of experts. And that panel or that board of experts has to read what's submitted as an article, and they have to agree that the information that's being presented is accurate, that the information that's being presented is reliable, and if any experiments or anything were done, that those experiments followed a proper process. So peer review is like a safety net, okay, where you have experts in the field review the stuff before it actually gets published. Why is this important? Well, because it protects you. It creates, as I called, a safety net. So for example, I could decide today that I wanted to write a medical article. And I could sit down and write out a medical article saying that cancer can be cured by eating Timbits. Right? There's nothing stopping me from doing that. Right? I can write that. But if I submit it to an academic journal for publication, a series of experts would take a look at what I'd written and they'd say, who is this person? what the heck are they saying here? Right? They're just making a claim right away that cancer can be cured by Timbits. They've done no experimentation. They have no proof for what they're saying. We are not going to publish this. Okay, we're not going to allow healthcare professionals to read this. That's safety. Okay, because again, when you're dealing with, and many of you will be dealing with life and death types of issues, you want to make sure that what you're reading has gone through that process where people's eyeballs have been on that information before you read it. The problem, right, obviously with the external web, is that I could easily set up a website tonight, put up my information about how Timbits cure cancer, and there's nobody who's going to review it. It's just out there and people can access it. So academic journals, because they go through that process of peer review, are the gold standard of research. It's the most reliable and safe information that you can get. Excuse me. It also gives you the most current information on a topic. So because journals publish frequently, they're publishing the cutting edge information and the cutting edge research that may not be out there in older books, okay, or older forms of information. The one drawback with academic journals, though, is that initially they can be difficult to understand. Some of them are highly, highly specialized, okay, and are really designed for people with years and years of expertise in one particular little area. As you're going through your process and starting to read and look at academic journal articles, you need to cut yourself a little bit of slack. Okay, so remember, you're brand new to healthcare studies. You're still building your medical terminology. You're still learning about all of these things. Initially, when you start looking at academic journal articles, a lot of it may be out of reach. Okay, so you may look at the stuff and think, oh my goodness, right? This is so complicated. I don't even understand the vocabulary that's being used here. That's totally normal. Okay, so again, remember, you may end up looking at pieces of information that are meant for people with years and years of very specialized expertise in one area. You're still building up, okay? And as you learn more and more, and you gain more and more expertise in your area, more and more of these journal articles become accessible. But I mention that only because, again, it can be a little daunting or a little intimidating at the beginning when you first start looking at this stuff. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that there's different types of articles that are out there. And these different types of articles have different purposes. I have created a handout for you. I'm just going to pull it up. I'll ask you to read through it before you move on to the next video, that identifies the different types of journal articles that are out there. Okay, and just even knowing the different types of articles that you're going to encounter is a real key to being able to comprehend and understand as you're reading through these journal articles. Okay, so this handout is going to be in the week 2 number folder. In the next video, we're actually going to dive right in. We're going to start taking a look at the library website, and we're going to talk about how to begin doing research on medical issues. I'll talk to you in our next video.